Hello, welcome to the workshop slash webinar on how to get more guests from Google for your restaurant. This can be a super fast-paced presentation. Shouldn't take more than, say, 30 minutes or so. Doing some new stuff here. Oh, there we go. Here, I'm just gonna go back a second. Okay, all right, so our mission for today is really simple. A lot of presentations like this, they'll inundate you with tons of information and it actually slows you down. So I'd love to just give you the insights that you need and a really simple next step for you to actually be motivated to take action and just move forward with this material, which is getting more guests from Google. Oh my goodness, getting used to this, using the phone as a clicker. All right, there we go. All right, so here's what we're going to cover today. Why Google is your restaurant's secret weapon in driving more guests to your restaurant. A couple of success stories that you can steal from, how Google really sees your restaurant, local keywords that you absolutely want to be ranking for, how to turn your Google business profile into a Google loving guest magnet by using some simple key activities, how to get more 5-star reviews fast. We're always optimizing for what we call review velocity. We'll get more into that shortly. How to boost your visibility in simple ways using citations and press. How to change your mindset from search engine optimization to search everywhere optimization as more and more platforms become search engines. And your repeatable next step, your repeatable system that you can take and run with. And so that's basically what we got going for you today. All right, so really quickly, what I have found works when it comes to all this marketing stuff is really simple. It comes down to great tools, a great plan, and help. And when we have great tools and great help, that's leverage, right? Every entrepreneur needs leverage. And then the plan and checklist is the blueprint, right? It was Archimedes who said, if you give me a lever long enough, I can move the world. And that's what great tools and help is all about. There are other forms of leverage, but those are the ones we're going to be covering today. And I'm also a big proponent of who, not how. I've often found in my own experience, if I really have a tendency to focus on the how, like how's this done, it just takes me forever to get things done. And so I tend to instead focus on who can I get to help me execute the how. All right, and so we got some goodies at the end. So a free local SEO checklist. So that's like your plan. So you could take that checklist, you could have somebody else execute on your behalf. We'll also offer you a free SEO and ranking report. And then we're also going to be running a complimentary 8-week case study program. So a lot of this stuff could get done for you over the course of 8 weeks. And yeah, because you need this work done and we'd love to generate more case studies. So that's something that's on the table as well, potentially. And who am I? Why listen? I hate slides like these, but yeah, so I've been in the industry a long time. And without going into too much detail here, all I do is I obsess over how to get restaurants more guests. I often say it's my life's work. And so at the end of the day, don't listen to me. Come here to get some insights. I'll share some results. You can let the results do some of the talking. But other than that, I am the founder and CEO of GuestGetter, where we work with dozens of restaurants, helping them do this stuff, execute on this stuff, and generate and revenue and results. So here's some case studies, okay? Just real quick, so you know that we have done this and we do it day in, day out. So this is a heat map. How's this look, Andrew? Is this clear? Yeah? Okay. Our man Andrew, a videographer extraordinary in the background here. These are heat maps, okay? And this is one of the first things that we do with any restaurant is we generate these heat maps for high intent keywords. So keywords like, let's say you're a pizza restaurant, pizza near me, pizzeria in Kitchener, Ontario. And so we create heat maps like this because it gives us a benchmark. It gives us a starting point. And so this was how a pizzeria was ranking in Windsor, Ontario. They were practically invisible. And over the course of just 3 short months, we took them from this kind of like being invisible. They were visible, they're ranking number 2 right at their location. But everywhere else, you go like a couple blocks away and 14 spot, 19 spot, over 20, right? So if you're outside of the first, say, 7 results in local search, you're practically invisible. So we really want to optimize for that. We want to basically have the mindset that we are going to dominate local search results. And so it just took 3 months to get us to the top spot for this particular keyword. And interestingly, this owner also attributed a 10% lift in sales last month to this. So that was awesome. What else? So this is a cafe actually in Belgium. And we're also one of the things we're always optimizing for is high intent, high buying intent activities. For example, phone calls and direction lookups. Menu views also tend to be quite high buying intent activities. But if we can drive more phone calls and direction views over time, then revenue tends to correlate with that. And so this is a cafe, the month before we started working together, absolutely no phone calls. The next month, 42 phone calls, right? So it's, and the key, you're probably like, oh, 40 phone calls, that's not crazy, but incremental results matter. This is another pizzeria's before and after. Actually, that's the same one. Here, this is the one I want to show you. Incremental improvements matter as well. So you can see here, this spot was actually doing okay. There were one there, there are 8, 7, 7 here. But then after just a couple months, you can see that they're beginning to show up more often for their high value keywords that they're looking to optimize for. And in our case study program that we're going to invite you to, that's what we're looking for, is what kind of a measurable impact can we show over the course of 8 weeks? How can we show that results like this translate to revenue, to lifts in revenue? That's the whole point. And just, yeah, so I worked here. Some past and present clients that we worked with, they're all restaurant owners. These are all in Canada, but we really value our relationships with our restaurant owner clients. Okay, so why is Google your restaurant secret weapon? I'm sure if you're on this, but it's no secret that Google is responsible for many of your customers. The interesting thing in the restaurant space is I find that a lot of restaurant owners, they think of marketing, like they just think of social media. But if you ask most of the restaurant owners we speak with, if they find that when they survey their customers, most customers come from Google, not social media. So we look at social media more as like a retention tool as opposed to a customer acquisition tool. Now, I do distinguish organic social media from paid social media. We absolutely use paid social media as an acquisition tool, but that's outside of the scope of this. But 92% of local searches happen on Google, and they happen on Google before they happen on OpenTable, Yelp, TripAdvisor, anywhere else. It starts on Google, right? That's like the front door of your restaurant. And 54% of diners discover new restaurants through Google Maps. And the thing that determines how you show up in Google Maps is your Google business profile. And we're going to talk a little bit about optimizing that. And then the other thing is 67% of diners check reviews before choosing a restaurant. That is probably no secret. And in fact, Google has said that, I forget where I heard this stat, but most diners actually view a review as being as valuable or as trustworthy as word of mouth, right? Essentially, generating more reviews is about accelerating our restaurant's word of mouth. So super important. And if we can optimize for these things that I just mentioned, Google, it will have us showing up in Google's good graces more often, and it will reward us by showing us higher in search and map. Basically, if you're not optimizing for Google, then you're basically ignoring more than half of your potential guests. And so I would love for us at this point to just make a mental agreement with Google. You're gonna become homies with Google. You and Google you're gonna shake hands, and you're gonna be like, okay, Google, I am going to learn all about you, and I'm going to plan to absolutely dominate the results that you show in my local area for my restaurant over the next year. I'm like, give this some time, right? So today we're mostly talking about local search engine optimization and Google business profile optimization, a little bit of website, like a teeny bit of Google Ads, which is more of a near-term thing. You can leverage Google Ads to drive results like today. The local SEO and the Google business profile optimization tends to be a longer-term play, but is fundamental to your restaurant's success online. Yeah, I just want us to just take a moment and shake hands with Google and say, okay, Google, I'm gonna learn all about you. So starting right now. So there are 4 key areas of focus when it comes to generating results with Google. And I'll also say that these are the 4 key areas of focus in 2024. Maybe in 2025, we'll be really talking all about Search GPT or some other platform, but probably not. There's a thing called the Lindy effect, which says that for however long something has been a going concern, you can trust that it will be a going concern for quite a while longer. And Google's been at this game for a lot longer than, say, ChatGPT has. So 4 key areas of focus. Google Ads, this is a really low priority thing for us today, but we'd be remiss if we didn't mention it. Oh my goodness, what happened? Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, just really quickly. before I get on to the other three key areas of focus. Google Ads are awesome because it's really hard to waste money with Google Ads. If you run Facebook ads or print ads, that you got to have a really good offer, right? A really good offer. And ideally you have a way you're driving people to a page where you collect their data so that you can then at least have a lot of control over the relationship and that communication, right? Google Ads are cool because it uses up the power of intent, right? When people are searching, they're in market. That's when your Google ad will show up. It won't show up any other time, right? So it's when people are actively looking. And the other thing is you only basically pay for what you get. So like down here, we got a bunch of impressions. You only really pay for clicks. It's called PPC, pay per click. That's awesome, actually. Because if people are in market, they're looking for something, they click, the chances that they'll perform a high buying intent activity is much greater. So, and then you can also see they took some local actions. You can break out those local actions into, calls, menu views, direction lookups, etc. And you can even see Google will show you that's how many calls you generated. That's why Google Ads are awesome. And I'll also mention that we'll talk about signals in a bit, but running Google Ads complements your organic search strategy really well because Google is like looking for signals, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. But yeah, so the next key area of focus is your Google business profile. This is super important. I'm going to talk about why in a second. It's maybe the most important. Next, reputation acceleration. This in conjunction with Google business profile optimization, super key. And then finally, your website. And we'll talk really briefly about why your website's maybe not as important as many people think it is. It's not to say it is not important, but it is important, but it's like a lot of people, when they think of SEO, they go straight to the website, but there are these other factors that probably drive more of an impact, and I'll go over that very soon. So how does Google really see your restaurant on the internet? So there's too much text here, but so we have a couple of main things: the Google business profile and then your website. The Google business profile is so key because it actually drives it gets 5 times the viewership than your website. So 5 times more views on your Google business profile than your website. But your website is absolutely important for those who want to go to dive in deeper. They maybe want to learn more about your story, see what other content you have. They want to explore your menu, right? It's not to say it's not important. But the other thing is that Google also wants to own as much of the customer journey as it possibly can. You can have your menu on Google. You can have all the photos that you want on Google, all of your social proof, the reviews, it's all on Google. You can see how they don't really want people to leave Google. And that's the case with any online platform. And so you remember when I mentioned that we want to shake hands with Google and we want to make a mental contract that we're going to be homies and become friends. You want to align your incentives with Google's, right? So by enriching your Google business profile, you keep people on the platform, and the more people are on the platform, the more ad dollars they can charge because it just keeps people there. That's the same with Facebook, Instagram, every platform on the internet. That's how Google sees your restaurant. Now, okay, Google is basically looking for signals. It's looking for signals all the time. All we're going to be talking about today is how do we send signals to that your restaurant is essentially a good citizen of the internet, okay? And Google tells us exactly what it wants to see. So it has this acronym called EAT. It stands for experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And so you'll begin to see how all of the signals that we'll be talking about can basically support this acronym, okay? So here are just some examples of these are more potent signals, right? So review velocity. How fast are you getting reviews? It's not just like getting all 5-star reviews. Google would actually rather see you get more reviews in a given night and they not all be 5 stars than you get 1 5-star review, but only 5-star reviews, say once a week. Okay, so review velocity, super important. Next is review responses. It wants to see, again, being a good citizen of the internet, a trusted business, you want to respond to those reviews in a timely and professional manner. Running Google Ads, okay? So think about signals, right? Google sees that you're using one of its products, you're putting skin in the game, you're paying for ads. That's a signal, okay? Using Google Business Profile. So we're going to be talking a lot about this, but when I say using Google Business Profile, fully using it, okay? So there are tons of fields for you to fill out, fill them all out. Share posts on Google Business Profile, create Q&As on Google Business Profile, share photos on an ongoing basis, etc. Let's see. Okay, so consistent name, address, and phone number across the internet. So Google is always scanning the internet, looking for properties that link back to your Google Business Profile or your website. And it's also looking for citations, so directory listings on Yelp, TripAdvisor, et cetera, and it wants to see that your name, address, and phone number is bulletproof in its consistency across the web. positive signal that says we trust this business. Okay. Obviously, an opt and mobile friendly website. We're not going to go too much into detail. It can be pretty techy, but I'm going to show you how to get this done, in a really easy and efficient way. A new content that links back to your website, so via PR and local press and partnerships, and then educational content. So those are just some of the signals that Google is looking for all the time. It's always scanning the internet and it's asking, is this business a good citizen of the internet and of the real world too? I just really want to quickly share, these are local ranking factors, and I gotta apologize, I forget where this is sourced from. It might be Moz or SEMrush or something like that. Every year, these big search companies come up with the local ranking factors that it determines are most useful or most valuable that Google is looking for. And I just want to draw your attention. So these are the most potent ones, and we just talked about them. The interesting thing is that on page, like this is your website on page. When you hear on page SEO, it's referring to your website. That represents only 21% of the ranking factors. Okay. A lot of people, like I mentioned, a lot of people go straight to the website, but it's actually a fairly small part of it. The big part is your Google business profile and fully using it. Social is a teeny tiny part, but this might become more over time, which is why you want to keep your finger on the pulse of this stuff. Citations are essentially directory listings across the web, like I mentioned. Behavioral and engagement. So this is like responding to your reviews, it's posting stuff, it's contributing. It's contributing content, it's maybe social, and social can be part of it as well. It's just like seeing your business's behavior on the internet. And then links, so these are backlinks. These used to be super important. And what I mean when I say backlinks is just like links that go back to your properties online. The interesting thing at the local level, for SEO at a national level, backlinks are usually like what's like Entrepreneur Magazine or the National Post linking back to my website. Those are awesome. And at the national level, usually citation or directory listing links don't actually count, but at the local level, they do count. So that makes citations and claiming citations everywhere you possibly can super valuable. So that's, and then reviews is a pretty big part too. So just, yeah. All right. So how do you understand where your restaurant really stands with Google? So we use tools. So there are a couple of things that we'll do right off the top. First off, we'll just run a website audit using a tool. We use HighLevel. There are absolutely tons of tools to do this. You use a Google website audit tool, you'll find stuff. And then we'll also create a local search heat map, which you can see in the background there. And I've showed you the heat maps, but what the core web vitals will show you is just what on your website or what is it seeing across the internet that isn't doing you any favors. And then you can just send that off to a team member and say, hey, Tony, hey, Jane, whoever, hey, web dev team, can you please aim to fix these over the next few weeks? Right? And then the heat map just starts showing you, okay, here's how I'm actually showing up for restaurant near me or tacos near me or whatever the keyword is that you want to rank for. And actually, so I went ahead and I created let me see if this works. Okay. So we created it's called a marketing audit report, but it's basically, this is all about just digital presence. And it's for a spot called Golden Lake Seafood Restaurant in London, Ontario. And so I'm getting used to this little phone as a thingy here. Over here, it gives us a few key areas, right? So the overall score, business details, basically just how fleshed out is your Google business profile. Listings. So what it's doing is it's scraping the internet. It's looking at directory listings online, like Yelp, like TripAdvisor, and it's seeing how many of those listings has this business claimed and how fleshed out are those details. Am I still in the picture? Okay. Okay, awesome. How about your reviews? How many reviews are you generating and are you responding to them? What kind of shape is your website? So basically it's looking for how fast is the website and is it mobile responsive? And then a few other little techie things that you can get a report like this, boom, send it off to a web dev person or team and they'll get it done for you. And then SEO. The SEO in this case is, let's just go check it out. So SEO, so all it's doing is it's running one local search heat map. I would say this is like an SEO audit light. It's very light because all it's doing is it's looking for seafood restaurant near me. But there are other high value keywords that we would want to be ranking for as well. So I just wanted to show you that. So that's first step, right? You want to know where you stand with Google. So go to some tool. You could use HighLevel. You could use just Google web audit tool, and it will pump out something that you can then take and run with. And then the other thing is using a local heat map tool. I would say this is a bit too light for that. You want to use a tool like BrightLocal or Local Falcon to create heat maps based on keywords that your restaurant really wants to show up for. So you can have a solid, this just gives you, there's no guesswork, right? You can then sink your teeth into this and you can be like, okay, we're doing great here, we're doing crappy here, let's aim to fix this, okay? bippity boppity boop. We're gonna go back to our presentation. Alrighty, okay. And I think that's, I'm just gonna, do I do this? Okay, there we go, I think. All right, so let's move on here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about keyword research. So for restaurants, there are just a few main keywords we really want to show up for. Restaurant near me. This is the holy grail. We always start here. How is this restaurant showing up in its local area when someone searches restaurant near me or bar near me, right? Or let's say you're in a neighborhood, restaurant downtown Kitchener, restaurant Woodfield, Alberta, right? So you want to know how you're showing up for those search terms, and that's where you would pump these into a local heat map tool like Local Falcon or Bright Local. And also, there are some huge opportunities, and these are opportunities that we're going to be exploring more so in our case study group. But for restaurants, there's a huge opportunity to create authoritative. Remember the acronym EEAT. A is for authority, and E is for expertise. There is a ton of opportunity for restaurants to create expertise and authority-driven content. And I say it's a powerful opportunity because almost no restaurants do it. And especially today, we have tools that can really help us make this process efficient, like ChatGPT, for example. And by no means I'm suggesting but it can help us make the process much faster. Now, let's say, for example, you are a taco restaurant. You can create content that is super in-depth about beef tacos, about tacos al pastor in Kitchener, Waterloo, Ontario, right? And you can basically really flesh out an authoritative, interesting, fun piece of content that can turn into an asset for your restaurant for a very long time. And Google loves that kind of thing. And 99.999% of restaurants do not do this. So that's why it is a great opportunity. Now, so yeah, you really want to optimize for any cuisine type. Let's say you're an Italian restaurant, creating content around carbonara or whatever it is in your local area is a powerful opportunity. I just want to pause here and mention to really wrap your head around this concept, which is super foreign to most restaurants. There's a wonderful book called They Ask You Answer. And it basically tells the tale of a local pool company and how they were basically on the brink of bankruptcy. And then they just adopted the mindset, we are going to become the ultimate resource for anybody, anywhere who wants a pool. And they just found out what people's questions were around pools, and they just made content that answered those questions. And Google loves that. And by the way, AI-driven searches are also going to love that. As we move forward here, we're going into more of an AI experience within the search results. So this is going to become even more important, unique, authoritative content that answers questions that people have. So this is about becoming, you could consider adopting the mindset of becoming a local guide and an ultimate resource. Okay, a local guide. You can shine a light on other restaurants. Let's say you are that taco spot. You can make an article that is all about the best tacos in Montreal, Quebec, okay? And you feature other taco places, and yours is in there as well. But by doing that, you shine a light on other people, you give other people a reason to link back to your website, and it's just a real vote of confidence that you're not playing the competition game, and you're playing the category of one game. You're not worried about competition, okay? So, and in fact, I just thought I'd mention, a few years ago, we actually created a site all about this. I'm not going to start a restaurant, right? But I did see the power in becoming a local guide and ultimate resource. We created an entire media company called The Bastion in Victoria, BC, all around this. And so you can see here, we drink here. This is a locals guide to avoiding average cocktails in Victoria, BC. So you could create content like that for your restaurant. And back then we didn't have ChatGPT. ChatGPT would really help you spin up articles like this that are high quality. You just need to make sure that a human being is editing it and contributing a human tone to it. Okay, so ChatGPT is maybe like a starting point, but you want a human to finish it and take it to the finish. I just want to mention that. Now, if you want to go in depth on this approach, the approach of the local guide or the ultimate resource, that's where you want to do some more in-depth keyword research. And so we use a tool called KeySearch. And I don't know if did I make this? Oh no, I didn't. Blah, 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 blah. I was going to show you an actual example, but so I took a screenshot to show you an opportunity. Okay, we're searching for chicken wings, London, Ontario. And what that pumps out is a whole bunch of search terms, related search terms, and it also reports the search volume. So how many people are actually looking for that on a monthly basis. And the key piece here is the competition score. Okay, so if I see greens and I see even a little bit of search volume, that tells me this is called long tail keywords for the most part. That's just so like a short tail keyword would be like chicken wings. Long tail is chicken wings, London, Ontario, or buffalo chicken wings, London, Ontario, right? So the long tail. And even if there's a little bit of search volume, we can, and low competition score, we could create an article that could very quickly rank for this. And if throughout that article you have, try London, Ontario's best chicken wings, you're going to turn this traffic into customers who come to your restaurant, right? So that's the idea. So keyword research, we use keysearch.co. Again, just absolutely tons of tools for this purpose. All right, so next up, turn your Google Business Profile into a Google Lovin' guest magnet using a few key simple activities. We're just going to go over 4. There are tons, but this is like the 80-20. These are the 20% of activities that will drive 80% of results. And so obviously you wanted to aim to be at the top of Google. So the first one for the Google Business Profile is generating a lot of reviews. And the simplest, most effective way we have found to do this is to create a really simple QR code with a simple URL. You can't see it here, but it's something like reviewmyrestaurant.com. Okay. Most people know how to use QR codes, but for those who don't, you can send them to reviewmyrestaurant.com or myrestaurant.com/reviews. Just a really simple thing that they can type into their phone. But the QR code will go right to either a landing page like this, where they can leave a review, or sorry, you can't see it here, but there are just a couple buttons. One is leave us a review, which goes straight to your Google Business Profile review page. Or if they didn't love their experience, we mitigate against negative reviews by just having an email button. And so the thing is, you give this card to your servers and bartenders. They have the most built-in rapport with guests. And if they ask a guest to leave a review with a card, because of that rapport that they have with one another, the odds that people will actually go ahead and leave that review is so much higher than it is if we just leave it to chance, right? The more you ask, the more you receive. And I'll also just caution you against a couple of other things. There are 2 pretty big no-nos that quite a few restaurants do that are against Google's terms of service. And I'll throw in the caveat that who's monitoring, but I would hate to see any restaurant get their Google Business Profile suspended, because that would absolutely decimate their traffic online. Far more than the website going away is if that Google Business Profile goes away, that's a big problem. So one thing that a lot of restaurants do is they'll incentivize a review. So they'll say something like, leave us a review and get a free appetizer. That's a no. But what you can do is you can incentivize your team members to make the ask. Okay, that is the insight. That is the aha. Is you can't incentivize guests or customers to leave you a review, but you can absolutely incentivize the ask. And so you give your servers and bartenders this tool or a tool like this, and you maybe do a little competition. Okay, so you can do that. The other thing a lot of folks will do is they'll do what's known as review gating. So this is where maybe have a card like this, and then you'll send people to a really simple page. I love it in theory, but it's against Google's terms of service. But the page will be like, how many stars did you give us? If they put 5 stars, they'll send you to Google reviews. If they give you 3 or less, they'll send you to a feedback form. This is called review gating. Now, these are both against Google's terms of service. You just don't want to get caught with those, and you don't need to either. This card, in fact, can go straight to your Google Business Profile review page, and that would be probably the most effective. Sure, you'll get a few more 1 stars or poor reviews, but every review is just feedback that you can then take and gives you a chance to respond and make it right. But I do find a lot of restaurants like the option of heading it off with the pass with the button. All right. So regularly posting updates and photos. So all this is sharing a post or sharing a new menu to Google Business Profile or just adding photos. There's this mind-boggling stat that this is from Google Business Insights that for businesses with 20 or more photos on their Google Business Profile, they receive 3% more requests for directions and 35% more clicks to their website, which is a mind-boggling stat. So that's a really easy lever to pull. Just add a bunch of photos to Google Business Profile. And by the way, keep on adding Google Business photos to Google Business Profile, and you will see more traffic, which translates to more guests. So regularly posting updates and photos. So it's like stuff like this. It's really simple in your console there to do that. So if you're making any kind of social post, boom, just share it to Google Business Profile at the same time. You want to keep, so there's this acronym NAP, name, address, phone number. I mentioned this, I touched on this earlier, but you absolutely want this to be consistent across the web. And if you were to have to go around to directory listings and claim them manually every single time, you could do that. You could go on Upwork, you could hire a team or whatever to help with all this stuff, and you could get someone to do that. But what my preference is to use a tool like Yext or Bright Local to do it for you. So you have one console where you can put in this information and it will claim these directory listings and ensure their accuracy across the internet. So super powerful. Yext is a bit more expensive because it's a monthly fee. Bright Local, you just pay for the citation. But the reason why the monthly fee makes sense is because your citations shouldn't be static. It's not like a set and forget. It's something that you update. Each citation is living, right? So that's why Yext makes sense. But of course, you can always just go to Bright Local every couple months and update it that way. So you also want to update your profile by doing what Google tells you to do. So if you manage Google Business Profiles, you will see that there's a profile strength score here. Okay, we want that to be green. And if it's not green, they literally tell you what to do. So you want to check in on this spot. And this is a bit of a moving target, but you want to check in on this spot every couple of weeks, every month, and just see, okay, it's telling me to add photos of our menu. Okay, boom, let's take some photos of our menu and upload it. That's telling us to create an ad. Boom. It is literally telling you that running ads helps improve the performance of your Google Business Profile. The other cool thing about Google Ads has a product called Smart Ad Campaigns, which, I believe is a phenomenal product for restaurants, or candidly any restaurant that is spending less than, say, $1,000 a month in ads, because it leverages your Google Business Profile, which everybody is familiar with using and has all of your social proof, and in many cases integrated with your reservation platform or your online tools. So Smart Ad Campaigns are really great places to start. And then turn more views in the customers. I don't know what that is. But the point here is you just go to your Google Business Profile and do what it tells you to do. So pretty cool. All right. So just a couple of ideas about how to get citations we really covered. That's Yext and Bright Local. Or you can do it manually. You can hire a VA or something like that. But that is kind of a painful process. Press, there's a ton of opportunity here. So every local city has a tourism, this is London, Ontario, Tourism London, and everyone has a Chamber of Commerce. I would recommend starting with the tourism spots that your city has and just having a gander through their content and finding out what they're showcasing. Start thinking, what could I also showcase that Tourism London would be stupid not to also showcase, right? So you have a great reason to reach out to them and say, hey, Tourism London, we're doing this killer Hot Ones inspired wing event where we're going to explore different hot sauces. Okay, they're definitely going to feature that. All right. And the other cool events are also just a super powerful way to generate better rankings, because events give you a clear reason to not just reach out to Tourism London, but to reach out to local partners who may also want to get involved. And then they'll write about it and probably send backlinks to you. They'll share your social posts, etc. So these are signals that show Google you're trusted. And so I'd start there. Also, lots of opportunity with local Chamber of Commerce, just in terms of generating business lunches and stuff like that. And there will be opportunities for partnerships where you can create more events or offers or things that give your restaurant reasons to share stuff. That's unique reasons to share stuff. All right. And I just want to mention, so search, it used to be search engine optimization. It's moving to search everywhere optimization as more and more folks use social media as search engines. So a fellow, he's a Google exec. He said that 40% of Gen Z users prefer searching on platforms like TikTok and Instagram versus Google. Okay, so these are younger folks, and if they're using social media more like search engines, so is the generation be younger than them, whatever. What's after Gen Z? You want to be thinking about keywords and hashtags in your social media content. Okay, and so a really simple way. So use AI to compile a list of keywords and hashtags. Obviously, use location tags and encourage guests to share content. These, again, all of this stuff signals that, because Google is crawling Instagram, it's crawling TikTok, it shows those results, it crawls X, etc. Right? So you see those results when you search for your restaurant. And here's a simple way you can do this using, say, ChatGPT. I highly recommend, by the way, the paid version of ChatGPT. It will make your life. So here's a prompt you can use. Create a repeatable list of keywords and hashtags to include in social posts to help a Thai restaurant in Kitchener, so we want to be specific, show up more often in local relevant searches on social media, e.g. TikTok, Instagram, etc. And then here's what it gave me. General keywords and hashtags, cuisine-specific hashtags, location and occasion-based hashtags. All right, so Thai restaurant, Kitchener Eats, Thai food, Kitchener, etc. You get the idea. But now you can go ahead and you can include these hashtags or these keywords in your captions And even Instagram, I'm not sure about TikTok. Instagram has this section for alt tags, which is it allows you to add a keyword to an image, which it will crawl, and boom, it's another signal. There's that. Real quick, your website. Honestly, your website is really a matter of doing an audit, using a tool that tells you, hey, these are some areas, you have some broken links, you're missing alt tags, your images are too large, whatever. Use a tool that tells you exactly what is wrong with your website. Don't just go to your website and be like, oh, I wonder what's wrong with it, right? That won't be efficient. Use a tool. But the main thing is it's honestly, it's crazy in 2024. There are still a ton of restaurant websites that are not mobile friendly. And most people are scanning on their phones. So in fact, you should probably start with the mobile design. And then you want it to be fast and you want it to be mobile friendly. And any website audit will tell you how you're performing in those regards. And yeah, so you want to conduct an audit of your website probably quarterly. Just see, because it's a bit of a moving target. And you might have been all greens a couple months ago, and this month you might be, because the internet changes all the time. So you just want to, all of this stuff is an ongoing process. All right, so we're going to wrap up here. And my mission here with this presentation was obviously to deliver some insights, but more than anything, I hope that you don't feel bogged down by any of this, and that it gives you speed, right? Because the faster we can move on this stuff, the faster we can get results, the faster we can drive cash flow, sales, etc., guest flow. And so I want to just make it really easy to take a next step and take action on this. I'm not going to leave you with this stuff because I know that 99% of folks, myself included, would do absolutely nothing with this, okay? And that's just the way it is, right? We're limited in our bandwidth, especially restaurant owners. And so let's see what I got here. So I'd like to offer you a free ranking report and SEO review. There's absolutely no obligation. This is not a high pressure sales pitch. It's just a chance for us to get on a call together, see how you're doing in how your website is doing, see how your local heat maps are doing. And we'll give you all this stuff. By the way, we'll send you the slides if you want to look at them. But so that's one next step. And there's also a checklist we're going to send. So if you're on this webinar, you're on our email list, we'll send out the checklist. So if you want to take this checklist, send it off to someone to be like, hey, can you just make sure this gets on a consistent basis? That can be the next step. And the one that I'm really excited about is not this. Yes. So if you want to do this, go to guestgetter.co/schedule. Where is it? Okay. An 8-week case study program. So just go to guestgetter.co/schedule and let's do the free SEO review ranking report. And if your restaurant qualifies, we're doing an 8-week case study program. So you need this stuff done. We would like to run more experiments and generate more case studies so we can help more restaurant owners get these results and grow their businesses. That's the whole point. So it's a win, a totally riskless proposition. And it will be 8 weeks where if your restaurant qualifies, we'll get on a 15-minute call once per week for 8 weeks. If you can't make the call, we'll record a quick Loom video and just share what the implementation plan is, what the expected outcome is, and get you set up so that over the course of that 8 weeks, you're either, at the very least, you have a phenomenal baseline, your foundations are really well established, or some high impact results. Right? Maybe you see a 10%, 15, 20% sales lift because more people are finding you. Now I'm certainly not promising anything like that, but we're going to set this up so that you either win or you learn and we can get a chance to work together. So that's just guestgetter.co/schedule. And that is it for this presentation. I can't see what's going on Zoom. I'll check it out, but yeah, well, let's go over here. Oh my gosh. Wires. Okay, let's see. All right, let me just stop share. Okay. So there's Q&A. Hey, Kyle. Woo. Looks and sounds great. Awesome. Can we see the recorded version of this? It's so helpful. Yes. Info sent. Can't wait to connect on this, Kyle. Okay, awesome. Folks, that is it for this present. Boom, like 46 minutes. It's right on the money. If there are no other questions, then we will wrap this up. But if there are questions, feel free to ask. I'll shoot the breeze here with Andrew for a couple moments because there are still people here. But, can I grab a screenshot of that checklist? I'd like to add it. Yes, you can. Yes, we'll send all this stuff, for everyone who registered, we're going to send this over to you. Yeah, and by the way, guestgetter.co/schedule is to book a call, but you can, of course, be in touch, kyle@guestgetter.co, and we'll answer any other questions you have. But other than that, thank you so much for your time and attention. I know that time is it's our scarcest resource, so I don't take it lightly. And we'll follow up via email, and we'll share the resources, the SEO checklist, the recording, the replay, etc. And stay tuned for our next workshop, which will be coming up in a month as well. We're doing these every single month. But yeah, okay. Oh, I should be looking at the camera. All right, that's it for today. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Cheers. How do I do this? How do I end it?